Any hope that the departure of Professor David Flint might put a bit of vigour into the Australian Broadcasting Authority's scrutiny of commercial radio was dashed last week with the release of a shabby report into Adelaide 5AA morning presenter and serial liar Leon Byner. As we reported early this year, the story of Byner flogging himself around Adelaide was broken by the Advertiser in January.
Good news for cash.
High-profile radio talkback host Leon Byner offered to use his show to road test and provide positive coverage for Lord Mayor Michael Harbison in return for thousands of dollars in payment.
Byner headed for the studio early to join his station's breakfast team to try to spin his way out of trouble.
Can you understand, though, people saying, Leon, if you're a consultant to the Adelaide City Council and you're actually paid for that consultancy, you then can't really attack them over an issue?
Yeah, but you see, this
because you're virtually on their payroll.
Except that, had this gone further, which it didn't, see, after that letter, there was absolutely no further discussion by me, by them, except to say, look, we probably won't do anything. And I said, that's fine, that's cool.
Byner was fibbing, and the fibs kept coming.
Have you been approached by any other organisations to do the same sort of consultancy or media training?
I've done some other media training. I've done some for banks. This is going back some months ago.
Do you have any current arrangements with other organisations?
Not at the moment, no, I don't.
He did have other arrangements, and he'd been hiding them from 5AA and his listeners for at least a year. Byner lied to the Advertiser when they got onto the story, lied to his listeners when the story broke that morning, and had a go at lying to the Australian Broadcasting Authority. The ABA investigation into 5AA found 15 breaches of commercial radio broadcasting standards in the last 3 months of last year alone. 12 of those breaches were the result of
failing to cause a disclosure announcement to be broadcast when Mr. Leon Byner interviewed his personal sponsors on his program. The interviews were with employees of Bupa Australia Health Proprietary Limited, Mutual Community, 4 interviews. The Australian Hotels Association, South Australia, 3 interviews. ETSA Utilities, 2 interviews. And Mr. Michael Harbison, Lord Mayor of Adelaide, 3 interviews.
Leon says he can't really explain how he failed to make those disclosures as required by law, but he was really crook at the time.
Perhaps I didn't because I was under enormous stress through most of last year. Many of you may know that I've had major eye surgery and there was a very real risk last year that I might go blind.
And a very real risk, as it turned out, of earning big money from the deals he was pursuing with the Mayor, the pubs of South Australia and a few state utilities. These deals were about killing stories, not reporting them. He offered to teach SA Water
how to prevent customer issues festering into media debate, preventing a customer problem becoming a political football, how to respond to customers who have gone to the media.
SA Water knocked him back, but controversial electricity utility ETSA paid Byner to let him know
how to address customer service issues in the media, the art of conversation in public via radio, press or television,
and
maintaining a good public and media image.
Leon ended up with a 15-month consultancy with ETSA, a 4-month deal with the health insurer Mutual Community, and a 6-month deal to give Adelaide's Lord Mayor Michael Harbison
marketing, policy advice and media training, consultancy services and
ongoing advice and consultancy for media.
That Byner had a deal with the Mayor was their little secret, but astute listeners might have been able to guess. Here's Leon and Michael exchanging compliments during one of the Lord Mayor's many appearances on the show. Parking tickets were the issue.
So what we've actually done is we've cancelled those 7 tickets.
Oh, that's great. See, that's the sensible thing you'd expect from a progressive council.
No, that's good. I appreciate you bringing it to our attention, Leon.
Well, so where do we stand in the future now for city parking?
Well, what we're going to do is hold to the old rules while we have a look at this, because it is important that the city does work for residents, but it works for businesses and visitors and everyone else too. And it's just complicated making it work, but we're on the case, and as I say, I appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
Well, look, and thank you for responding so quickly and doing what obviously is the right thing.
But the big fish Leon hauled in last year, while distracted by the fear of going blind, were the pubs of South Australia. At various times he spoke at pub industry functions for a steeply rising fee, At a conference in May, his subject was
how to use the media to your advantage and working with politicians to achieve results.
What the pubs wanted to achieve was postponement for as long as possible of tough recommendations to ban smoking in the state's hotels. At a meeting with John Lewis of the Australian Hotels Association South Australian branch in early November, Leon
agreed to oversee the anti-smoking campaign response by the AHA on radio and other required media, and conduct seminars to media train AHA employees.
This was a big story at the time in South Australia, with the government, the opposition, the Cancer Council, the unions and the pubs all slugging it out. But Leon was on the pub's payroll by the time the government announced
smokers out of hotels by 2007.
All hotels and clubs in South Australia will have to be smoke-free from October 2007. Bans will be phased in over 4 years.
Later that morning, Byner had his man from the Hotels Association on the show. According to the ABA's report, Byner and Lewis talked about
the issue of an anti-smoking campaign, which will result in a ban on smoking in certain places, and no disclosure announcement was broadcast.
That same day, Leon did yet another deal with Lewis's crowd.
To be a guest speaker at AHA South Australia Annual Conference 2004 for a total cost of $3,000, including GST.
He would never get there. The truth was about to hit the fan. Byner had been fobbing off inquiries since March 2003, when Station General Manager Paul Bartlett began asking him
to disclose any commercial arrangements involving him or any of his associates on at least a monthly basis, and in some cases on several occasions during a particular month. On each occasion, Mr. Byner gave an assurance that he had not failed to disclose any commercial arrangements with third parties.
But Andrew Huff of the Adelaide Advertiser was onto the story. The night before it broke in late January, Huff spoke to Byner, who
denied any wrongdoing and said that anyone making cash for comment allegations against him should watch out, as he would
sue the shit out of them.
36 hours later, Byner was off air, his secret sponsors were abandoning their deals, 5AA was grilling him, and then the ABA began its investigation. But it was a perfunctory affair. The ABA questioned no one, not even Leon. It was all done with documents. But the ABA didn't show much zeal getting the documents it wanted. The pubs left them short, and they didn't get enough from 5AA to work out how the deals had affected Leon's broadcasts. So the ABA just abandoned that crucial point.
It is alleged by the licensee that Mr. Byner did not treat his sponsors more favourably by providing positive comments or refraining from making negative comments. No evidence is available to refute this allegation.
You get the feeling, reading the report, that the ABA thought it was all a bit of a waste of time. And maybe they're right. Under the mad anti-cash for comment regulations we have, the ABA can't punish the Leon Byners of broadcasting, only their radio stations. Byner had caused a very long list of breaches, but how could the ABA take a stick to his station?
The ABA accepts that station management made repeated requests to Mr. Byner to disclose his commercial arrangements, and that Mr. Byner's responses to those requests misled the licensee.
In the end, no one was punished. 5AA was let off with no more than a stern reminder to keep up the good work. And Leon, surely Leon was fired after all those lies and all the embarrassment he'd caused his station. Not a bit of it. After a carefully scripted grovel, Leon was back on air.
I know that I've let everyone down, and that's something that will be with me forever, and for that I apologise without condition. I will nonetheless now try to resume my career and ask you, my listeners, to allow me to enter your lives again